Alright, so I have finally completed 5,000 1.07 High Council runs with my Barb. Dumb best Barb ever. Uh, his stats are terrible. Ignore that. He should have way more vitality. Um, and the highest rune that he found is shown here. The Vex rune. Um, which, you can see here there's two runes. I found one rune and one Vex rune. But you cannot tell which one is which without mousing over them, because they look the same. So here's an rune, 25% open wounds and weapons, all res 10 in armor and helms, and all res plus 20 in shields. And here is the Vex rune, which looks like an rune, because this is 1.07 and they have the wrong artwork. 7% mana steal or 3 to maximum fire resists in all the other slots. So here I have the modern version, open wounds for the rune. Uh, uh, there you go. All res 15 in armor and helms, and all res 22 in shields. So it's different. It changed by 5, changed by 2. And then the Vex rune, 7% mana steal stayed the same. And then the maximum fire resist changed to 5 instead of 3. And then the artwork is correct. So that's the Vex rune and the rune. And I'll show my gear, but this is not the showcase of this character. If I was watching this video, I would be miffed if I did not get to see the gear. So here's 25% lifesteal gloves with resists and crushing blow. It's a Bloodcraft, lesser Bloodcraft from a Tur rune. Storm Splitter Scourge. Scourge is not the ideal weapon choice, but I like the idea of it being good. Greatly increased attack speed is 40%, and it came as one of the mods. And then ETH rune in 1.07, the minus 25% target defense, sets the enemy's defense value to a negative number worth 25% of their original defense. So if they have 100 defense normally, now they have instead negative 25 defense. And then 326% enhanced damage is the highest enhanced damage roll I have rolled yet on a crafted weapon. They can go well over 500. 1.07 Vamp Gaze. 1.07 Gladiator's Bane. And these are the same as 1.08 versions, which I socketed with a Sol rune for more reduced physical damage. The Saracens Chance for the amplified damage on attack, which does work with Whirlwind. The offhand weapon with 5% chance to cast amplified damage on attack. The attack rating is not used on this weapon, so I can use a sword even though I have Mace Mastery. 3 to combat skills, bugged 4 sockets from Larzuk, and then jewels that just have cold and lightning resists to overstack versus Conviction, which does minus 140% at the council. Natalia's Boots, nothing special. Dwarf Star for the magic damage reduction. 37 mana after each kill, bugged 1.07 ring. Mavina's Belt for the 40% faster run walk. All item fast run walk is linear, not diminishing returns. And then the Mana Steal. 16 max 35 life Grand Charm, 12 max 28 life Large Charm, 20 max 118 attack rating Grand Charm, 27 life 17 all res Grand Charm. The resistance could go up to 20. 25 life 34 lightning resist. The lightning resist could be 36, so it's 2 away. 318 fast run walk small charm, very nice. 3 minimum 16 life. 11 to maximum damage. A perfect roll would have been 12. And 12 max 21 life large charm. So that's the gear. Also 2 suicide branches on switch for the casting breakpoints on Hork. And you'll see that they do not do plus skills. Okay, so here I have his run counter. Dumb best barb ever, 5,000 runs. This is approximate because a death counts as a run, and mealing off with the run counter open counts as a run. Average time 1 minute and 40 seconds. Total time basically 144 hours to do the 5,000 runs. This one. So here, let's see. I have the rune drop odds. So in 1.07, this column. Wait. Hello. There. 1.07. The Vex rune that I found, for every 5,130 runes that drop, you expect one Vex rune. If we look here at 1.13C plus, which is the most modern drop odds, it's what you run with probably right now, and we look down at Zod rune, 1 in every 5,171 runes will be Zod. So the Vex that I found in 1.07 is almost equally rare as a Zod rune in 1.13C plus. And you can see some of these odds for the Zod rune down at the bottom. The worst being 1.08 through 1.09D. 1 in every 184,000 runes that drop can be a Zod rune. So that's pretty rare. And that's not like how many monster item drops, that's how many runes you have to find on average. So the highest that the council could drop here in 1.07 would be the Chom rune, with basically every 41,000 runes you'll get one Chom rune on average. The rune, 1 in 1290. I found one rune in this, which is similar to finding a Ja rune in the current versions. So pretty rare. So here I have my melding program, Atma, and whenever I'm picking up all of my items in the runs, I fill up these stashes, and by fill up, I mean I get them to approximately 1,000 items. That doesn't make it full. They're infinite, as big as your hard drive. It's just a text file. But when they get to 1,000, then that's kind of where I draw the line at the loading time being long enough that I don't want to keep adding more items. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 full stashes, and then the last one has only 92 items. So over 10,000 items of junk that I collected, mostly consumables, all colors and tiers of gems, all runes except L. And then, you know, charms and various other items and stuff. Okay. And then here. Here. My spreadsheet where I calculated how many Vex runes should I have found, or how many high runes, Vex plus, should I have found in my 5,000 high council runs. Which I did by going through my stashes, those 11, I guess, that I just showed you, and counting how many of each rune is there, and then putting it in this spreadsheet. So for example, you know, the stash labeled Ital W had 19 Neph runes. Some of these are highlighted as red, and then they're not in my totals column on the far right, because those were crafting runes that I used for crafting, so I don't actually know how many of them I picked up. So Elb I used for some lesser blood crafted boots, and then you can see here I stopped and crafting with them. Shea I used for the greater crafted blood gloves, and in the beginning I wasn't crafting with them because I did not have vampire bone gloves, and then eventually I did start crafting with them. Tur is for the lesser blood crafted glove, and I wasn't crafting everything, but most of them. Sometimes I would find like 2 Turs in one run, but only have one jewel available, probably. And then eventually I stopped crafting with them because I had enough decent results that I only wanted to do greater crafting recipe after that. Some of these are highlighted in light gray. And so these ones are because in 1.07, the named unique council members count as bosses, and so their treasure class is limited to the normal difficulty treasure class, even in hell. And so they cannot drop a rune higher than Thul. So when I counted the runes from all of my stashes, if they were Thul or lower, then I multiplied the total by 8 over 11. And that's to remove the 3 council members from the total, or the unique council members from the total drops. So I'm only counting here, or the idea is that I'm only counting here the 8 minion council members. How many of each rune dropped. So like total I have 52 runes. In total I have approximately 123 Eth runes when I estimate to remove the unique council members. Then I used these drop odds. So like, for example, Eth 1 in 12 runes will be an Eth rune. And so I multiplied how many runes I counted as Eth, 123, divided it by 1 in 12 to get an estimation for how many runes dropped altogether. I did not collect L runes, so I don't know how many L runes I have. And since I used some for crafting, I don't know how many of those runes I had. So to get the total number of runes dropped, I have to estimate. So I used that method, dividing by the rune rarity, dividing the total number of that rune I found by the rune rarity to estimate how many runes dropped altogether. This one is the Vex rune, and you can see the number is clearly an outlier at 5,000 because there was only one of it. So I did not include this in the median adjusted average of all the other estimates for how many runes dropped total, estimating that I dropped 1,740 runes. And here, estimating that from those 1,740, about 350 of them would have been L, which got left on the floor. So then over on the far left in the bottom, I then estimated how many of each high rune should I have expected to find based on 1,740 runes dropping altogether from the 8 minion council members in 5,000 council runs. And here's those answers. Let's zoom in. I expected to find 0.042 Chom runes, 0.064 Joe, not Ja, runes, etc. I expected to find 0.34 Vex runes in 5,000 runs. And here I have the sum of, well, Zod to Ohm, but they can't drop Zod. So I expected to find 3/4 of a rune higher than Vex in 5,000 council runs. And I expected to find 1.08 runes Vex or higher in 5,000 council runs, which is basically exactly the result I got. About 1 high rune Vex plus, and the most likely result being Vex, which is what I got. So kind of interesting to me that the results I got are like basically the statistics are showing the most likely result is the result that I got. So that's pretty neat. Let's look at the rune again. So pretty. And we'll end it with this.